Hey, welcome to Dissent Dialectics. So I've been thinking long and hard about what to make the first real episode about, and I've decided to start out by talking about impulsivity. The genesis of this was actually a post on Stack Exchange. Now, I'm not normally one to care this much about some post on the internet, but this is a spectacular and relatively involved example of one of the many poisons currently seeping into American society in particular. Just to give you a quick rundown, Stack Exchange is a collection of topic-focused, community-driven question and answer forums. The most well-known Stack Exchange site is Stack Overflow, which is intended for use by software developers. However, the topics of Stack Exchange websites vary, from coffee to religion to chemistry. Users can upvote and downvote questions, much like on Reddit. So as you can surmise, intelligent minds should be highly valued here. So a little while ago, I was browsing the workplace Stack Exchange and came upon a post. The post was titled, "How can I explain a religious conflict regarding working with women?" I will provide a link to it. The original post is written by a user named Just User, and seems to be intentionally written so as not to offend anyone. This person clearly had some level of awareness as to how this question would be received. It reads as follows. I started with my US employer over a year ago and explained that because of my religious beliefs, I do not want to work with women. We are a small office with 20 male employees. My old boss quit about 2 months ago and was replaced with a peer of his. My new boss recently held an interview with a female candidate. Since I chose not to join the interview, I'm not allowed to be involved in the decision to hire this person. What's the best way to make clear to my boss that working with a woman would be in conflict with my beliefs? I have mentioned the Workplace Religious Freedom Act, but according to my boss, it does not apply in this case. I prefer not to quit since I could risk losing my visa. Now, I'm sure some people, or maybe most people, think this is going to be about the post itself. It's not. The amount of pure, unadulterated idiocy in the comments and answers was absolutely astounding. Even the top voted answer on the post, while mostly effectively answering the question, has a slight tone of condescension to it. There were comments that, when you read them, seemed more reminiscent of 4chan than a website for professionals. The question was also downvoted into the negatives, of course. People were saying this user does not belong in America, that he's bigoted and an asshole in almost as many words, and all manner of other judgmental things. There was even an entire second post made just about the first post for people to discuss how to handle it. And that post was also filled with snide judgmental remarks about the original poster. So, alright, let's back up. Let's first just gloss over the massive, massive irony here of people being bigoted and judgmental while judging someone else for being bigoted and judgmental. And let's get over the fact that, yes, in America, this kind of viewpoint on women is not seen as a good thing, all good things being subjective, of course. And let's actually look at the question instead of our rage about the question. Let's look at our ultra-nice, high-tech, rational brains that we've spent so many years evolving to separate us from animals, and let's actually use them. Like, consciously. It's a good question. Actually, I think it's a great question. What should you do if you really like a country and want to stay in that country and work in that country, but your religious views, something that people shouldn't really be judgmental of, clash with that country's views? Is there an option? I don't know. Keep in mind, this user never said women are terrible, women are stupid, women are not worth working with. The only thing he said was that his religious views prevent him from working with women. and instead of answers barring one, or maybe half of one, he was drowned in a sea of shit. Now let's be clear, since I'm sure at least one person is going to get all angry and rush toward the comment box to tell me what a bigot I am. I don't agree with this guy's religious views. I don't support them, but that doesn't mean I should be a fucking asshole to him and not answer his question, especially on a site that's made for professionals to answer questions from other professionals. And that brings me to our key point: impulsivity. If you can't stop your little fingers before you go to that keyboard and call this guy a douchebag for his religious beliefs, you are just as bad as you are claiming he is. You are being a total asshole. You're just as much of an asshole as you would be for spouting any other racist or sexist stereotype yourself. You are absolutely, positively, undeniably 101% part of the exact same problem you probably think you're fighting. Actually, when you think about it, you might even be worse, because this guy didn't come out of nowhere and start shouting, "All women are idiots," at the top of his lungs. He just asked a simple question. A simple fucking question. And handfuls of people lashed out at him, treated him like shit, and in not so many words, told him to get the fuck out of their country. So tell me, is this really the right solution? Did so few people have parents that taught their children that two wrongs don't make a right? You might not like to hear this, but it's true. Two wrongs don't make a right. Even if someone is being an asshole to you, it's a hell of a lot more effective to be assertive, direct, and truthful than to be an asshole. There is a difference, contrary to what we all see around us every day in the media and in our social circles. Society has become progressively worse at thinking of anything in terms that aren't extremes. But it is, in fact, possible to be assertive without being a jackass. If you think being an outright jackass is ever the proper, most effective solution to a problem, I don't know what to tell you. So let's expand, because intelligent minds discuss ideas and all that. This is no different than racism, sexism, or any other form of judgment, because this impulsivity is just that, a snap judgment. It's made by you, it's based on little to no factual evidence, and more likely than not, it probably ignores whatever evidence might be sitting right in front of you. It's based on emotion. If there is any logic involved, it's based on falsehoods or was indoctrinated into you at a young age. Intelligent people with brains in their skulls can step back in a situation like this, take a deep breath, and think it through. Your inner dialogue should sound something like this. Well, I don't agree with this guy, and that sounds like a pretty shitty worldview, but I shouldn't judge because I've got some shitty worldviews too. Can I help him out and come up with a situation that's a win-win? No? Okay, well, I'd better just shut my mouth then and be on my way, because otherwise I will sound like an ape who developed just enough intelligence to post a Stack Exchange comment and embarrass myself in front of people who I'd rather would respect me. And like I said, this is in no way only about some pointless Stack Exchange post. This happens all day, every day, around us. You do it, I do it, everyone does it. But some of us are enlightened enough to realize it, acknowledge it, accept it, and start to work through it. Feel free to choose whichever side you like, but know that you're a fool if you're a normally functioning human being and have refused to take control over your own impulses. Let's take a look at this in practice. Every time a conservative shrieks about liberals, you should cringe. Every time a liberal spews bile over conservatives, you should do the same. When third-wave feminists on the internet post angry tweets about how all men must be castrated right now, you should rightly look down on them. And when men going their own way, or men's rights activists, harp on women about who gives a shit, you shouldn't feel any different. They're all assholes. If someone is threatening you, or being a jackass, or ruining your quality of life, and you decide the only solution is to fling the same bullshit back at them, you aren't operating using intelligence. You're perpetuating the problem. This is a huge, pervasive, ridiculously toxic problem, and we all play right into it every single day. We must step up. We must learn to control our impulses and judgments, and we must do this now before we poison society any further. This isn't war. This is society. And it's not that conflict shouldn't exist. Conflict is great. Conflict is necessary. Read the Federalist Papers. American society was quite literally founded on animosity. I quote, "A zeal for different opinions concerning religion, concerning government, and many other points, as well of speculation as of practice, an attachment to different leaders ambitiously contending for preeminence and power, or to persons of other descriptions whose fortunes have been interesting to the human passions, have, in turn, divided mankind into parties, inflamed them with mutual animosity, and rendered them much more disposed to vex and oppress each other than to cooperate for their common good. So strong is this propensity of mankind to fall into mutual animosities that where no substantial occasion presents itself, the most frivolous and fanciful distinctions have been sufficient to kindle their unfriendly passions and excite their most violent conflicts." Madison hit the nail right on the head there. We're too buried in our animalistic behavior to rise above. So no, the solution isn't world peace and love. The solution is being intelligent about all this. The solution is to learn and understand that conflict can be had in a healthy, productive, and smart way. Conflict doesn't always have to mean one person is wrong. Sometimes conflict ends up showing us that both sides are wrong. And sometimes, when someone is wrong, that someone might be you. Accept it, unless you enjoy looking like an idiot. Conflict should foster growth. Conflict should ideally result in mutual understanding, not a bunch of losers living in echo chambers where no opinion can ever differ from their own. So, here's what it comes down to. If you think you're always right, and that you don't have to think before you speak because you're somehow more special than anyone else, and you live your life on the highest of horses, go right ahead and keep acting like that. But do know that you're behaving in a ridiculously childish way, and at least learn that and accept it. But if you really, truly do care about bettering the life experiences of others, do the world a favor. Do some reflection, do some introspection, learn some more advanced social skills, read some books, and realize you can go a whole lot farther in life if you're behaving like an adult.